Hello, my Empower Series family. This is Clifton Johnson with the Empower Series podcast. I want to say hello to our viewers in the United States and around the world. You're in for another empowering moment and treat with our guest today. We're going to talk about entrepreneurship and the reality of it, not just the perception, but the reality. We're going to drop the T, give you the T on entrepreneurship and what it really takes to be successful. Our guest today is a trailblazer in that space. Her name is Darlisa Dilts. She has been a trailblazer not only in entrepreneurship, but also in creating an ecosystem, not just in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but globally. She's come with a passion and a force. She's going to share with us her story, but she's also a first-generation college student, as well as entrepreneur. She's played a vital role in several ecosystem building initiatives worldwide, as I said before. She's the chief entrepreneurship strategist for Foundations Entrepreneur Development Company, which is the first for-profit, Black-owned, women-owned business service organization with an entrepreneur educational distinction in the DFW Metroplex. In addition to her endeavors with Foundations EDC, in 2024, Darlisa partnered with Vista Bank and Southern Dallas Progress CDC to open the first South Dallas Fair Park Innovation Center. And it's a flexible workspace with a focus on foundational structuring, financial literacy, community development. And she is well known as a speaker. She's well known as a community advocate, and she currently leads the 4-county-wide Global Entrepreneurship Week initiative in North Texas. That's just a mouthful, y'all. She does much more. That's just the tip of the iceberg. But I want the Empower Series family, right, to give a warm, loving welcome to our guest today, Darlisa.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I've got to start with this. I have a tremendous amount of appreciation, and I guess I'm being blessed with your presence here today because I know how tight your schedule is. And you are squeezing us in. But I'm so glad you're fitting us in, and we are blessed with your presence. I want to thank you for taking a portion out of your life to pour into the Empower Series community. So thanks.
Well, I want to thank you for the opportunity. I followed your work for many years, so I call it a privilege to be able to sit here at your table. So thank you for the invitation.
Okay, well, we're thanking each other, right? Well, here's the other thing I would tell you. I know that in the very beginning, this is prior to COVID, you were coming to some of our workshops or registering to come. And then sometimes you came, sometimes you were busy, but we always connected. And I always wanted you to be on our podcast. But timing is everything. You know, things unfold the way it should, even though it's not the way I would like it to be.
Right.
So this is meant to be. There are no accidents. There are no accidents if you're watching this. So share this link, get your pens and paper, because note takers are money makers, right? So we're going to have, I would like you to share a little bit about who you are. Because a lot of times when people define or describe themselves, they describe what they do. Mm-hmm. But I know that you are a powerful force. You're a daughter, you're a mother, you're a wife, and in the midst of your journey, you are also, like I said in the introduction, you're a trailblazer. You're a positive force when it comes to what's possible. Hold on to your dream and in this entrepreneurial space. So for the value of our listeners, please introduce yourself to us.
All right. Well, I mean, you did an excellent job, so I don't know that I have much more to say. I born and raised St. Louis, Missouri. I've been in Texas close to 9 years now. As you mentioned, I am a wife. I am a mother. First and foremost, I am a devout Christian. My faith is everything to me. I wouldn't be sitting here today if I did not have that component. Community advocate. Right. Lover of all things fun, I want to say. Okay. If it's not fun, I want no parts of it.
It got to be fun.
Right. And, you know, I'm a everyday young lady living life like most people.
That's good. That's good. Well, thank you for that. So being from St. Louis, I have some ties in St. Louis as well as Missouri. My mother was born and raised in Kansas City, Missouri. But my aunt Zelma, what's up, Aunt Zelma? Giving you a shout out always. She actually went to Lincoln University.
I used to party there. Hey, Aunt Zelma. I did.
No, look, and she met her husband there.
Okay.
A number of my cousins met their spouses there.
Okay.
And so what's unique is that she recently published a book called Seasons of the Journey, the biography of Dr. James Frank, who's done a lot of significant things in education in the Collegiate Athletic Association. But we have some common ties with Missouri. So is your family originally from St. Louis, or is that just where you were born?
That's where I was born. So we have Memphis, Mississippi. I think that's kind of where my roots are.
Okay.
Memphis and Mississippi. But I was born in St. Louis.
Okay. And then tell me about your background. How did you get into really not education, but entrepreneurship, given your education and your family? Because you're like the first generation college person and there was no entrepreneurship in your immediate family. So how did you step into that space?
I guess that was my calling, right? That was what was meant to be. I grew up in school, where they teach you to get the job, climb the corporate ladder. Found that the corporate ladder for me was a step stool, white-led, male organization, healthcare, right? Turnover, amazing, all the time, every day, there's something. And so I was invited by a friend to help one of their friends, help them create something for their organization because they had been newly placed into a position. And from that, he asked me the question of, well, how much do I owe you? And I didn't know anything about entrepreneurship at that time. That was never on my radar, not something I aspired to be, really not even something that I had heard of, if I'm being honest. And so when he asked that question, I did not have a response for him. But what he did was he paid me anyway. And I don't know if I mentioned, but I've been married 20 years. I've been with my husband close to 30 years. And, well, it's like 26, whatever. And so I was married.
But it feels like 30.
Right? It's been a long time. Let's just say that. So it was kind of like uncomfortable when he paid me anyway because I didn't know what to do with that. But not only that, he sent people my way to pay me for other services. And I love to study. I am a learner by nature, right? So I had to take this deep dive into what entrepreneurship really was because I didn't understand it. And at the time in Missouri, it was only $25 to get an LLC, right? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you can have a whole business for $25? And so I started teaching these classes. So I was studying, just finding out more and more and more about entrepreneurship. And during this time, this was like the Obama administration, right? So now there's conversations about entrepreneurship. We're seeing Black entrepreneurs in a different light. And it was like a light bulb kind of went off for me that, yes, I actually could possibly do it. But in all things fear, I'm like, I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I just want to tell people that they can be entrepreneurs because I had this corporate job, right? Mama got bills to pay.
Right.
So, I wasn't trying to take that risk. But as, time or whatever would have it, I started doing all these free classes. So I was in the libraries, I was at the YMCAs, I was at the rec centers, and these classes would just fill up. I mean, they would be full of people learning about entrepreneurship.
And you were teaching it.
And I was teaching them.
And you weren't charging.
I was not charging.
Got
I
it.
was just having fun, right?
Okay, which I think a lot of people do. Like, I like what I'm doing. I'm just giving my stuff away for free, undervaluing. But go ahead.
Right?
What's your story?
And I still really didn't see myself as an entrepreneur at that time. So I was doing that, and I got noticed by the Small Business Development Center. And I was offered an opportunity to be a business advisor for the Small Business Development Center.
Okay.
And it's like, no, I'm not who you want. Like, I have a job. I'm good. And they were like, no, we think you can do it. And at the time, it was for an area in St. Louis or Missouri, like St. Charles, to kind of be that area person. And I guess that's when I kind of took that leap to go into that arena, entrepreneurship. From there, and that was like so awesome, right?
Were you an entrepreneur in that space, or were you an employee?
A contractor.
Contractor. Okay, got it.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Sorry, but yes, I was so entered into that space. So from there, I had the opportunity to work with a lot of the other organizations. So Grace Hill Women's Business Center, I became an instructor for their WeBo program, Workshops and Business Opportunity. And I was teaching entrepreneurship. So I just got engrossed into teaching entrepreneurship. Mind you, I'm young,
Okay.
but I served on committees. If anyone is familiar with the St. Louis infrastructure and the history of it, there's the Cortex Innovation District where they started to build out. There was like the T-Rex and just all the Cortex building and all these different things. So I became immersed. Now I still had the SBDC as my like main pocket, right? But I'm in all of these rooms, conversations, because my approach has always been what entrepreneurship looks like from a person like me, right? I didn't see entrepreneurship. I didn't know what entrepreneurship was. And you could have probably told me until I was blue in the face that it was possible, but I didn't connect the two. So
Okay.
I wanted to put my money where my mouth was and be like, no. Let me tell you, you can do it. Here are the steps that you need to take. And so that's what kind of got me on my journey.
All right. So through that phase of your life, how would you? What's your message from that pool of experiences? Because I'm going to ask you some questions about here in Dallas and what you're doing now, the partnership with Vista Bank. But for at that point in time, how would you summarize your learning from all of that experience that you've had?
Oh, I've just learned so much. Don't limit yourself because of what you see. Another one. So when the time came for me to actually leave my corporate job, it started to be so challenging. Like it was hard working there. Like the environment became so toxic. And I had been doing this stuff on the side and actually cutting it off, believing in myself enough to say, okay, I'm going to go for it, was so hard. And my faith really, really has always played a part in that. And it was at that time that I received an email from a lady that I had met like through some kind of connecting or networking.
Yeah.
And she sent me this email and she's like, I don't know why you're so heavy on my mind. Well, first it's like, well, hey, good to, connect with you. I don't know why you're so heavy on my mind, but God wanted me to tell you the thing that you've been praying for, he's already taken care of it. You just have to trust him. And that email was kind of like a click.
A confirmation.
And I think that same instance happens over and over and over and over in my journey, right? When things get the hardest, or when I think, I've hit a brick wall, or, there is no other way, he sends me something that reminds me like, girl, I got you,
this. I got
right?
this,
Like,
right?
relax. And I think it has gotten a lot easier to recognize that versus back then. But I think that was probably my first real connection with, okay, like this is a journey and he's got that journey. Because a whole family, right? I can't jump off the ledge and do something, but here I am.
So we're going to get into the tactical and knowledge-based things that's necessary to be a successful entrepreneur. But I don't want to leave this space right now because you just touched on the foundational piece that's needed for pretty much anything in life, but specifically entrepreneurship, right? A couple of things. Number one, another young gentleman was here, and I was asking him the same question about entrepreneurship and what skill sets are important to have to be a successful entrepreneur. And the first thing he said was, man, you have got to have a faith-based life. That's foundational.
It is.
And so what you described about being at your end and not knowing, and then getting a sign from God saying, we got you, we got this. You stepping out and really the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. That's some tough stuff. So people who are watching here who might be in a similar situation, in a job where they feel like they're not only a black face in white places, but also a woman or a minority, and not being comfortable where you are, and then knowing that there's something that's bigger and greater for you, but not being so confident just to take it and claim it. Man, that's powerful. And I didn't want to leave that without acknowledging it. And I want you to say or tell us, why that is so important when it comes into this faith walk of entrepreneurship, because it's not easy. That's just a light comment.
It's not easy. I think it's really important, one, to be clear on your faith, right? Because we can't ask God for things, or whoever we can't ask for it, give him the blueprint of how we want it done, and then tell him play by play, right? Because then we don't need his help. Mm-hmm. Where sometimes we miss, me being a person that has missed several times, where we miss is we feel like because we've asked, he's going to perform quickly. And that's not always the case, right? So then we start to create these scenarios and rationales of why we think it should work. Now is the time, yada, yada. But really, he's giving us signs to say, wait. He'll say, I got you, but we want it done right then and there.
Yeah, sense of urgency, right?
That sense of urgency. But we have to understand, like, our timing and his timing are separate. And I think the faith element of it is probably at its best when things look the most chaotic. That's when he's working in the background. Because if it's going great, if you really think about it, if things are going good, we're probably not going to ask him for help, right? Because we don't need his help in that moment. So shifting our thinking to when things are at their toughest, that's when we need to be still. Mm-hmm. Versus when things are at our toughest, we got to start cranking it out. No. I have found what he's told me. When things start rising and kicking up, be still. Like, because you're trying to do it at this point.
And you need to be quiet so you can hear, right? Let your creativity bubble up, because that's coming from our creator, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. Thank you. And this turned into a little like a Sunday school session.
Right.
But that's some real talk. And so the other thing I want to ask you before we go into the tactical educational piece and what you've created from an ecosystem standpoint for, aspiring entrepreneurs is, what would you say then is the biggest misconception or this myth about entrepreneurship? There's a message out there that we should all be entrepreneurs. What are your thoughts about that?
So I would say entrepreneurship is not for everyone, right? Being entrepreneurial is.
Thanks for making the distinction.
Okay.
Elaborate.
So being an entrepreneur requires a great deal of toughness, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, right? And it's okay if you don't have that toughness. That does not mean you are not a creator. That does not mean you can't ideate. That does not mean you cannot produce great results, right? But everyone is not meant to be an entrepreneur, because some people literally can't handle a $0 bank account.
And be responsible for other people's financial stability.
Correct. Some people can't handle several no's before they get to a yes, right? Some people just need structure. Yeah. And that's some of the components of being an entrepreneur. Being entrepreneurial says you can walk alongside a process and implement and ideate and be a good steward of all the things, but that doesn't mean that has to be your sole source of professional dealings.
Yeah.
And I think that is one big misconception. Another misconception is this theory of serial entrepreneurship, right? I hear that so much that I can just start just like rolling on the floor. Because if you really think about or just read what a serial entrepreneur is, it is those who have rendered business successes to an exit. not, well, I had this idea and I had this idea and I had this idea, but none of those ideas made you any money. So that's not serial entrepreneurship. That's busy work, right? That's trying to find it. That's trying to capture it. And nowadays, that's what people want to hear, right? They want to hear I was meant to be an entrepreneur because I have this passion, or I'm a serial entrepreneur because I've done this, and this. And it's like, okay, so you are very creative, yes, and you have ideas out the wazoo, but that's not entrepreneurship. And then I become the bad guy, right? Because I say those things, which now I shouldn't say I don't care, but it doesn't bother me as much if people get upset, because the reality of it is entrepreneurship, if you are true to the entrepreneurial journey, you don't have time for all these different.
You got to be focused.
You have to be focused.
Yeah, that's the key. That's the key.
So then I get the question of, well, how can you say that and you have multiple this, and that? Every single thing that I do ties back to what?
Entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
So you're not like, I'm pretty talented at a lot of things, right? But you don't see me selling plates. You don't see me braiding other people's hair. You don't see me washing cars, right. And can I do these things? Absolutely. But my lane is entrepreneurship. So I create additional streams through
that core
platform. If anybody looks up Darlisa Dilts, they're going to see some form of entrepreneurship. You ask me about my hair, I'm going to connect you to a braider. Yes, I can braid my own hair, but I'm not going to braid your hair. I'm not going to do that, right? So a lot of different misconceptions, and people are ready to accept mistruths because it feels better.
So tell me more about what do you mean by that?
So they want to hear the warm and fuzzy. They would rather hear that there's money out here for you to quit your job and start a business because you should be paid what you're worth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what they want to hear.
Or it's like, hey, you manage your own time. You don't have anybody controlling you. But they're not telling you the real tough stuff, right? The stuff that's not sexy or not attractive.
Correct. Yeah. And that's what people want to hear. They want to hear the you can do it, the champion, like the trophy just for playing type of a thing.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Right? But the moment you start telling them the realities of it, that's why you see a lot of businesses fail. And it's not because the idea wasn't a good idea. It's not because they didn't have the wherewithal to actually do it, but they went into it with the wrong mindset.
Gotcha.
Right? If you go into entrepreneurship thinking, I'm getting ready to struggle. Now you have set the tone and you can overcome that versus I'm going to make $1 million because people really do love what I do or my
people
cake.
Sound very talented. They like this, they like that. So I'm gonna talk about what you're doing now with Vista Bank,
okay?
Right, and what your big initiatives are now. But before we do that, I do want to address this. So we are the benefactors of many different people who are doing many different things, and those who are bold and daring enough to start their business and do the work and pay the price for that, in order to scale, need employees.
Yep.
So what I don't like a lot of times is that being an employee is like frowned upon.
Yep.
Because in order for us to benefit from things, and I'll just tell you, I'm recovering from prostate cancer. And one of the things that I found very valuable is that I'm so fortunate that these doctors have a passion for research and studying urology. The machine that actually assisted in the operation, somebody like that's their joy. Recently, I went through my radiation treatment, and I walked in every day for 35 treatments and greeted by a radiation technician who just greeted me, asked for my name and birth date, put me in a machine, and then got me out. And that's what they did. They did that 35 or 36 times a day. They weren't entrepreneurs, but they're very skilled and they are saving lives, right? And so in every profession, no matter what it is, from being a server, being a chef, from being someone who cleans up and picks up trash or whatever it is, it's like we are all benefactors of that. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I just personally do not like the fact that this idea of being an employee is something less than fulfilling your purpose. Does that make sense?
Oh, it absolutely makes sense. But that's the message that has been sent, right? Mm-hmm. And if you kind of think about it, it's more so cultural, right? Culturally, it has been exploited to a demographic that has not been privy to it, right? So, in retrospect, the carrot was dangled, okay? And I say we instantly gravitate to that carrot, not even thinking about the fact that there's a whole farm that you can have access to, right? But they put this carrot in front of us so that we focus on that carrot. And I'm of the persuasion, anytime anything is that easy for us to access, it's a trap.
Right.
Right? And what did we see? The pandemic. Mm-hmm. Quit your job. Follow your passion. There's money for it. Tell us how you've been doing all of these side hustles and blah, 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 blah. Tell us, because we want to pay you for it. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. And shortly thereafter, laws start changing, regulations start changing, and they start to put the clamps on it. But culturally, what did we do? We followed that carrot.
Jumped on it. Yeah.
We jumped on it. And now what do you see? It's hard for us to enter back into the workforce, right? It is challenging anyway to go back into a job after you've had to do it yourself anyway.
Yeah, we've had that taste.
We've had the taste of it. So it's challenging anyway to go and work up under someone, because now you view business operations different. Mm-hmm. But in the same vein, what people don't understand is when you do have to go back into the workforce, you don't have to give that company 100%, right? Because your 100% is going to be somebody's 30%, and that 30% does just fine, right? Mm-hmm. But because we want to prove and that becomes non-employable, right? So, and I had to learn this of myself because I have staff, right? Mm-hmm. And I used to think, well, I can do that job in my sleep because I do this and I do that and I do this and I do that and I do this. And then when you hear it as an employer, you're like, well, if you do all that, how are you going to do this job? Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Why do you need to work here?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to pay you to live out your dream because you decided to work here. And that's hard for us to hear a lot of times.
Well, you make a good point, because there's a new book out called The Dream Maker, or The Dream Manager. I'm sorry, The Dream Manager. Have you read that book yet?
No.
Okay, so here's what I'm a believer that we all have ideas, and life is a manifestation of ideas. And so whether you're an employee, whether you're an entrepreneur, like, our ideas come to us, which is our creator tapping on our subconscious saying that you want more out of life. So that's what Dennis Kimbrough says, Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. And so whether that's manifesting a new innovative idea in an existing company or creating your own company or whatever that might be, I think that's what we all have a dream, right? And we all have the ability to manifest that dream no matter what we do, right? And being an employee doesn't preclude you from fulfilling your dream. So the book, The Dream Manager, is about a company that realizes that in addition to paying your employees, you can create a more healthier culture and sustain employees' longevity if you help them achieve whatever their dreams are outside of their job, right? Because we all are working for a life that's more than just our job. Mm-hmm. And so that was the mindset of this book. And I believe in that. And so, I want to make sure that when people have an idea for a business, I don't want them to think that if they don't start that business, that they're a loser.
Right.
Right? Because that may not, like you said, they may not be willing to pay the price. So the first thing I'm thinking is I got to get you to do a workshop for the Empower series.
Okay.
Right? This is my pitch, right? Because we don't have enough time to go into a lot of detail, but I want you to still talk to us about what you're doing now with Vista Bank and what's available from a resource perspective. But I want you to do a more detailed workshop, because for those people who have an idea, and the first step is, okay, so what do I need to do to manifest that? And is the path truly entrepreneurship?
Right.
And for those people who say, I want to start a business, I know it's going to be hard, I'm going to do it. What I believe you do with all of the stuff that I know about you is you really connect people to the resources to help take that next step to achieve that goal, to manifest their dream.
Right.
And I want to hear more about what it is you do, what the Vista Bank partnership is all about. And for those people who want to connect with you after this, from listening to this podcast, how do they do that? So I've asked you a lot of questions, but I'm just going to sit back and listen to you now.
Okay, awesome. So with my organization, my company, Foundations Entrepreneur Development, we work with cities, municipalities, nonprofit organizations to help them build out these entrepreneurial ecosystems, whether it is a city initiative, it is something within their own personal space or what have you. So connecting them to the audience that they want to serve. And it has been anywhere from curriculum development all the way out to flat out infrastructure like design. Mm-hmm. So with Foundations, it helps us because we have the ear to the entrepreneur community. One, I am an entrepreneur. Two, I'm in the community often, so we can connect those worlds, which is how I got connected to the Vista Bank project. So my good partner, James McGee, he brought me into the fold to help develop this thing, right? Mm-hmm. I had a center up north and it tanked. Okay. Because that was me trying to do A, B, and C, and they wanted me out, right? And they did everything that they could to get me out, and it worked. However, it showed me that I don't have to pull for something that's needed because it came right back around. So the South Dallas Fair Park Innovation Center is a flexible workspace, low cost. If you think about a Starbucks, very similar concept, except it's a business center. Because my thing is, you shouldn't have to pay a lot to work somewhere, right? If you are true about doing business, you got to solidify the foundation, your paperwork, all that kind of stuff. Having your home address on any business documentation is a no-no. But what do? We put our home address on there. We do all that. That is public information. So if we are saying we want to be this new entrepreneur and we have debt out the wazoo, guess what? That debt collector researches your name and that business pops up.
Yeah.
Now you have just put your business
on the radar,
right? But we don't think about things like that. And so through the Vista Bank process, work with them to build out a program that helps entrepreneurs from wherever they are in the process. So we all know that funding is a top priority in the mind of a business owner. But the reality of it is, if you are starting a business and you need funding, you probably need to wait, right? So go back or stay on that job until you have developed enough money to make the next transition, because you're asking someone to take the risk for you. At that point, if somebody pays you to start a business, then it's not your risk, it's theirs.
Yeah.
Right? So created a program called Path to Yes. It is a 4-part program where aspiring entrepreneurs all the way through, stage 3 entrepreneurs can be put on a path to yes from where they are. If you are in ideation, there's a path to yes for you, but that does not include talking to a banker.
Yeah, it really includes, for the most part, of really clarifying your idea, clarifying your business model, and showing that your idea is profitable. right?
Correct.
Okay, got it.
So there's stages. So there's ideation, there's growth, there's pre-funding, there's capital injection projects like traditional funding. So we've worked with them, built out that infrastructure to produce the Path to Yes program. We do something called the Triple B, which is business banking and breakfast. It's an open networking thing. Come, rub elbows, connect with people, talk to individuals so that you, one, can tell people about the business that you do, but also, like you said, you need help in a business. You need employees per se. And if you can't afford to pay employees, that's where contractors come into play.
Right on.
And we don't like to hear that because we don't want to share the money, right? But it helps you grow. It helps you.
When is the networking? Is it once a week, once a month? How often?
The networking is every third Friday of the month at 8:00. So the next one is maybe February 21st. Okay. It's open to anyone. We have amazing numbers of people that come and participate, and it's open to anyone. So that's what we're doing over with the Vista Bank project. Other notable projects that we've done with foundations, we work with Texas Women's University. We do a statewide Women Entrepreneurs Leadership Forum where we connect women all over the state of Texas with larger corporations to help them with building their portfolio of work. We have worked with the city of Grand Prairie. We've worked with the city of North Richland Hills, St. Lucia. We've done programs with St. Lucia, India, World Affairs Council. Spreading the message of real entrepreneurship is our cornerstone. Like, that's what we do. If people are looking for the warm and fuzzy and the cookie cutter, it's probably not us. Yeah. But like you said, we can connect you to several resources because DFW has no shortage of resources. But now what you find is you got to put in the work.
Here's the thing: if you're not writing a check, you gotta pay something, and it's sweat equity. And you got to be careful. Even if you got money, you got to be careful because people are out there to take your money too, right? So I do want to say a couple of things. Anything that you said, networking wise or resource wise, are going to be links underneath this video.
Okay.
Right. So definitely it's going to be available for people. Dr. Dennis Kimbrough said once that really there's three ways to get into business. You can buy an existing business. Or you can buy a franchise. So an existing business usually has a track record of success.
M&A, yep.
You got
Mergers and acquisitions.
You got to be careful because if they're selling it, you got to make sure you know why they're selling it. But you got to do your due diligence. But you got a franchiseship, which has usually a proven system of success that you can follow. But then you've got people who have an idea they want to start by themselves. And in that regard, you don't have a system. You're creating one new. And if you're asking for money, to your point, you're asking people to really invest in your new system that hasn't been proven. And so if you don't have money to invest yourself, you really got to be very cognizant about, is this business a true viable business for you to not only invest your sweat equity in, but to get other people to invest their money in. So all of that stuff and learning about that stuff sounds like what you do as part of this ecosystem of entrepreneurship, which is the educational piece, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Our focus is strictly education.
And that's why I want you on the Empower Series. Because what we do, like in addition to the workshops and education and everything, in essence, we want to give people what they need to take that next step to achieve their goal. So whether it's just hope, inspiration, or we need to strengthen up your faith muscle, right? So that's important. Inspiration to take action. Because at the end of the day, all of the faith without works will get you nowhere.
Literally.
You definitely got to do some work. You got to be consistent around it. And you have to, in my opinion, have people around you that's going to support you, uplift you, and not hold you accountable, but really just not going to say, hey, let's go watch the playoffs. Let's go shopping. Let's go relax, when it's like you got to be on your
chill.
Yeah, like you got to be on your grind. So so we want to inspire you to be around like-minded individuals. Education is important. So that's one piece that we're doing, and it's critically important, but it's not enough. Because you got to build relationships, and whatever business you're in a relationship business. Whether it's your clients, your suppliers, your stakeholders, your other partners. The point is, connecting to resources is critically important to help people reach the next step. So that is why the Empower series and we married, right?
Okay.
We have got to give the people access and more content. And so my goal is that not everybody knows about you, but the world needs to. And you don't need to just be in Texas. Like, you've done some things outside of the state, outside of the country. But I think what you're doing is a model that can be in every city, major city. Is it there yet?
We have several cities. We're not in every city.
But so there's some growth potential, right?
Okay.
Let me speak some stuff into existence.
Okay.
Let's scale it. Let's franchise it, make it marketable, and let's get it done, right?
Right.
So, like I said before, we don't have enough time to go into all of the details, but I do want this not to be the end, but the beginning of our collaboration. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
All right, Empower Series family, would you agree too? Okay. I'm putting you on the spot. As we wrap, I just want to give you an opportunity to make a closing comment before we wrap this up and begin our next phase of working together.
Awesome. Okay, so anyone who would like to connect to foundations, entrepreneur development company, South Dallas Fair Park Innovation Center, Global Entrepreneurship Week, all that kind of stuff. I don't say this to gloat, but you can literally Google my name and all of that stuff will pop up. You won't get me all the time. However, we have an amazing team of people that are ready, willing to help you and connect you. If there's ever anything that I can personally do, I will always make a connection for you. I will, put you in a room. You got to perform once you get there, but I have no problem doing that. LinkedIn is my jam. So if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, I would love that. But however I can be of assistance or help, foundationsedc.com is the website to our major organization. SDFP Innovation Center is the website to our South Dallas location. So however we can support you on your journey, we are here to do that.
And everything's going to be underneath. So you said .com. Is it .com or is it .co? Which I'm confused.
The websites are .com.
But the email?
The email is .co.
Okay, got it.
Because I don't want everybody emailing me.
Well, you just put it out there on blast,
right? Like, let's be real. So that is a trick of the trade, right? Our website is .com and our emails are .co.
Okay, now everybody knows. But here's what I would tell you. So when you were talking, it reminds me of what Dr. George Fraser said, what a relationship is. So let's define what a relationship is. A relationship is when a person comes into your life and they do either one of four things. They either add, subtract, divide, or multiply. That's it. Add, subtract, divide, or multiply. So what we need to do overall is spend less time with people who subtract and create more division. And people who are doing nothing, people who are not pushing themselves, going out, being daring on their ideas and manifesting their ideas, they want people to do nothing with them. And so I want to express to you a tremendous amount of appreciation for not only what you've done here, but really being that force in a relationship to add value and to multiply. And my purpose in collaborating with you is not for you and I just to benefit from our relationship. It's for our collaboration to really bless millions of lives. That's our intention. And I know that's going to happen. So I want to thank you again for spending your time with us. I know you got to bounce pretty soon. So hold on to it. Wait until I say goodbye, then you can get out of here.
That is too funny.
So, hey, I want to thank you as well. Really, I have a tremendous appreciation for everyone. We wouldn't be able to do what we're doing here if it wasn't for everybody who's come together as a team, because nothing of significance can ever be done alone. So I definitely want to thank AE Media Group, who they do a lot. You're able to see the end result of what they do, but they do a lot behind the scenes. So I'm so appreciative of the team here at AE Media Group. I'm appreciative of all of our sponsors. Comerica Bank has been our sponsors for over 14 years. We're on our 15th year. So I want to thank them for their long-term support. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. Our most recent new bank that supported us is Independent Financial. I want to thank them as well. And all of the supporters, Goldman Sachs, 10,000 Small Businesses, and Frost Bank, every company that ever wrote a check, as well as individuals like yourself who've made donations. There's always ways for you to make more donations. So we're definitely open to that. But I want to thank you all because, again, nothing of significance can be done alone. We want to give you hope, inspiration, education, and connect you to resources. If you want to stay connected with us, you can go to our website, which is the .com, www.empowerseries.com. You can email me at thrive@empowerseries.com. When you go to our website, you can give us your feedback by clicking survey in the top right-hand corner. You can give us your email address and contact information so that you can volunteer and know how you can be a resource to us. If you want to make a donation, you hit the donate button in the top left-hand corner, or you can text, give, or donate to 214-225-6337. That is 214-225-6337. Join our, subscribe to our website if you haven't done it. If you want to be more of a contributor, you can join and be a member of the Empower Series website, or not website, but YouTube channel. And there's all these different ways you can give, but I'm looking forward to us not ending here, but this being a beginning of a relationship where we're pouring to each other, we're adding to each other, and through the result of our collaboration, we are blessing millions of lives. So until we meet again, I want you to be empowered and inspired to thrive. Thank you.